Welcome to Book World: The Great Escape. I am author Sue J. Peterson, and we have, I was pointing the right way. Author Michael Scott Clifton is right beside me. We're going to be talking part 2 on audiobooks before we get there. Mike, how was your week?
Well, it's been one where I've learned to cough a lot. Still went to the doctor, found out I had, what did he call it? Upper respiratory infection. I had it for 3 weeks. So I understand you've had maybe sharing the misery here. But anyway, it's been an interesting week. Uh, the I'm on the school board at Chapel Hill, and our girls won their first round of the playoffs in basketball. The boys were undefeated district champions, and I guess they'll start next week.
Awesome.
So
Congratulations.
real excited about that, and we're excited to see a little bit of sunshine. Uh, and I'll be speaking to the Lions Club here in Mount Pleasant. Just got asked to do that, and I think that will be March the 16th, Thursday. So I understand you have a book event coming up, the Conroe Comic Con. It's pretty
Comic Conroe.
Comic
We
Conroe,
actually
yeah.
talked this morning to the owner, Scott Smith, on Magic Making Mischief, which is also on my YouTube channel, as well as Mom Burella's YouTube channel. Got lots of the ins and the outs of what's going to be happening on there. That's pretty exciting. That's March 10th through 12th. But right now, I'm in the middle of the Sands of Time Trilogy's book blog tour, which today was a phenomenal review, a 5-star review written by, help me, what's her blog? I can't remember what it's called. It's Lisa Henson's blog. And she wrote just an amazing review. I've sent it through all my social media, so make sure to check it out. And make sure you can also enter. There's not going to be one winner, but 2 winners. I'll be giving away 2 full ebook sets of the Sands of Time trilogy. So I'm excited about that, to find out who's going to win those. The Sands of Time trilogy is also currently 99 cents. So make sure to grab yours today. Check out all of the other blog tours. You can go blog tour stops. Today is day 9. Tomorrow is the last day. And you can go to LoneStarLiteraryLife.com and click on blog tours. And mine is currently the second one that's on there. And they have done a tremendous job. I could not be more thrilled with what all had happened with the book blog tour and Lone Star Literary Life. Christine is amazing, and her bloggers are phenomenal.
Exactly. I've done a number with her, and she Lone Star Literary Life. If you're a Texas author, they promote Texas authors. It's the name Lone Star Literary Life. So you should check them out. They do a fabulous job for Texas authors.
Yep, it's not just Texas authors. It's if your story was set in Texas as well.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Or if you've lived in Texas for an inordinate amount of time, and you may have currently moved, but you are a Texan, then you will also count. So there's kind of
a lot of wiggle room.
In there. But she's amazing to work with. And like I said, her bloggers are phenomenal. They're always on time. I'm one of them. So with Shelf Life blogs. So I'm pretty excited. It's been really neat, because letting some people usually either love my books or they hate them. I fully understand that. So when I can find one that's, a 5-star review, it's like, okay, great. Then she totally loved it. And it was called the Plain Spoken Pen blog. There are other reviews. There's been Hallways blog, Storybook reviews, the Lone Star Book Blog Tour blog. All of the Ups and Downs did some quotes, as well as It's Not All Gravy. Those blogs did those. Review of book 1s were done under Stories Under Starlight and Rox Berkey's blog. Book 2 reviews. Book 1 review were Storybook reviews and Stories Under Starlight. Book 2s were Rox Berkey's blog and Boys Moms Read. And then today and tomorrow are the reviews for book 3, which is the Plain Spoken Pen and Liberal Book Adventures. So, yeah, it's been a unique experience. I have enjoyed it. Kind of seeing the other side, knowing what the other side goes through as a blogger. It's been pretty cool. But yeah, with Magic Making Mischief, we'll be heading to Comic Conroe in the Lone Star Convention Center in Conroe, Texas, March 10th, 11th, and 12th. I will be there all days. I will be working the floor. There's some amazing guests. There's going to be Chuck Huber, Peter Columbus, Paul Thomas Taylor, Vic Mignogna, and Greg Sipes, and he might be working on a few more. So, and then we'll have him afterwards on the 15th of March, where he'll be giving you a heads up sneak peek into next year's guest list. So you can get lots of cool stuff on both podcasts. But today we're going to be doing part 2 of the audiobook. So Mr. Mike's going to give us a quick 3 to 5 minute review of the last time to catch you up to where we are now, and then we'll take off.
So we'll go to sharing screen there,
With
Lisa.
Mike?
Yep, we sharing. Let me see.
So when you log into the audio ACX, which is up here in the corner, you log into ACX, you have to first claim your book. So I put showing results for CJ Peterson. This part we weren't able to show you last time because he had already claimed it. So I'm going to claim one of my books that I know I'm not going to do an audiobook for, and I'll put this as my book. You're claiming winner's verdict, Grace Storage, choose how you produce your audiobook. I'm looking for someone, you have choices. I'm looking for someone to narrate and produce my audiobook, or I already have audiobook files for this book and I want to sell it. So if you've already got a narrator, like for example, Mombirella is currently working on Appointed Time. She's already going to give me the audio files. So that one I would pick the second one. But because I don't right now, we're going to pick the first one. That's going to take us back to those pages. This is the agreement. You've read the agreement. Sign it. Head in. And this is the stuff that Mike was using for his book last time. So it pulled the review. It has the copyright information. You have to put that in there. My book is fiction. Best category. Can you see the category list? Can you see that category list?
No, it's not popping up.
Okay. There's like a long, huge list for this project. And so Mike's going to give us a quick version of what we need to know regarding narrators, because that's a huge, huge portion of this.
So again, you need to pick the narrator that's going to be best representative of the characters in your book. Obviously, all books have main characters. They have minor characters. You may have more than one main character. And so your choice of narrator is extremely important because you want them to be able to, portray the character the way you have them, in your mind, in your book. And so there will be you see there's gender, language, accent, voice, age, vocal. It's a lot. It really is. And so you need to really go. Yeah, drop down boxes, and they'll give you many, many choices. And then here on the additional comments, we didn't really go over that, but this is where you're going to give your potential narrators specific instructions on if you have a main character that has a vocal quirk or personality that can be, maybe projected through the way they narrate. This is the place where you want to do that to make it more easier for them to understand the character that they'll be narrating. Now, the auditions.
One thing that also to point out on this one is this says you should also provide your marketing plans for the audiobook edition, selling
Right.
points,
Oh, yeah.
status awards, reviews, etc.
And we did talk. Yeah, we did talk about that a little bit, and the purpose for that is the narrator, and we'll review that, I guess, a little bit from now. But if you want a really good narrator, they're wanting to narrate books that sell. The reason they want to narrate books that sell is because they share royalties with you for the most part, and they want to make money too, just like you do. So with a good marketing plan, you can entice some of the better narrators that you might not ordinarily be able to afford.
And
any other comments on that?
Yep. For example, with The Appointed Time, it won first place for young adult fiction last year. So I've already got a narrator, which is Mombirella. If I didn't have her, I would add this to it, and I would say, hey, yeah, it won first place and for young adult fiction in 2022, and kind of go from there. That's part of the stuff. As far as social media reach, they want to see numbers. They want to know, how many people do you have? How many followers do you have?
And of course, if you have a lot of good reviews, you want to share those as well. Now, the audition script, we talked about that a little bit, but here you're going to be submitting a 3 to 5 minute narration, a script that you want to do not, we said last week, remember, don't just print off and send the first 3 or 4 pages of your first chapter. What you want to
Mhm,
do is you want to include dialogue from the character, your main characters, maybe even from your minor characters, or going tit for tat back and forth. You want
mhm.
scene description. And basically, you're giving them bits and pieces of what they'll be narrating throughout your book, and you want to be able to listen to see how they do on these various aspects of your manuscript. And I have
Yeah.
found,
Is there a good action scene? Is there
right,
an intense emotional scene? How do they handle that?
I found that some that's right, that's very important. You're right, CJ, because I found that some, in my experience, you have some narrators who do a fantastic job on on dialogue, and
Mhm.
not so good a job on scene description, and vice versa. Uh, do a great job on scene description and don't really do a very good job on the characters' narrations. Um, okay, so that's the last thing to kind of review on this, which we talked a little bit, CJ and I, before we started today's podcast. Really understand the 3 different categories of how you produce the audiobook. You will do it via either royalty share plus, or you'll pay a straight fee to your narrator. Now, if you're in the case like with CJ and you've already got a narrator, then you don't have to worry about that. You may have already made a agreement with somebody, or something along that line.
So
Uh,
Mombi said, so if you have multiple characters like CJ's Angel books with multiple accents, is there a way to have them run through that? That can be completed in, I mean, just you would have to make a note, which is why my
right.
Angel books will probably not be in print because there's not somebody that can do all those accents. Or I mean, won't be in audiobook.
If you've got a section that you can put in your 3 to 5 minute uh, transcript that you send them, your 3 to 5 minute narration, then obviously include that. But
Mhm,
I think also when you've chosen a narrator, what I've found happens is that you give them they do the first chapter, and then uh, they send it back to you. You have an audio file. You'll have an audio file on your Audible account or ACX account, and you listen to that, and then you provide them feedback on if you think they need to change, particularly with characters and their vocalization of the characters, that you might that you want change. Because, and again, we talked about this before, we started the podcast. The reason for that is you don't want the entire book narrated, and then you discover that they did not do some of the characters, scene descriptions, what have you, in a way that you would like. Now, you will still have the opportunity to go back and individually listen to every single chapter and give feedback and changes you want made to the narrator. But it's so much easier if you clear up any kind of misconceptions from the jump, rather than having to go through every single chapter and have a bunch of changes. The narrators don't like that. And of course, you as an author wouldn't like it either. Uh,
mhm,
so, so going back to the 3 different choices: royalty share plus. Um, royalty share is the free version. That
mhm,
means that you don't pay anything. And we described very briefly again, royalty share means that Audible's going to get 60% of all book sales. You'll get the rather 40% royalty, which will be split evenly between you and your narrator. And I think that runs for 7 years. You get
mhm.
20%, they get 20%. So,
Unless you
but
have
it
a
does,
mhm.
yeah. Unless you've got an alternate deals, like for example, you and Mombrella has. So,
Mhm.
and so
Just wanted to make
anyway,
sure she didn't have a heart attack of thinking she was only gonna get 7 years.
right. I mean, it's your deal. You can do whatever you want with it. But on royalty share, it doesn't cost you anything to produce an audio book. That's the main
Mhm,
thing. Now, you won't get as good of you probably won't get as many narrators Now, I'm not saying you wouldn't, because I've known authors that have done this that got really fantastic narrators, but the odds are that you won't get as high a quality of a narrator, nor will you get as many uh, uh, auditions, narrator auditions with just royalty share. Most authors I know, including myself, do the middle version, the middle route, which is royalty share plus. You're still splitting the 40%, 20% for you, 20% for them. But you're also paying them an additional flat fee, 100
Mhm.
bucks, 150 bucks, $200, something like that on top of the royalty share. You'll
Kind of as
find
an
that
incentive, just a little bit, let them know that, "Hey, yeah."
yeah, and it guarantees better and more and a greater number of of narrators.
Mhm,
Now, one thing that you will run into, which I have several different times, a lot of these voice actors and narrators, they're members of the Screen Actors Guild, and they will tell you that they have a certain um, uh, fee they have to be met according to guild rules. Well, apparently those are pretty flexible, because what I've seen, most authors could not nor would they pay the going rate, because what determines if you're paying by the hour, it's called PFH, per finished hour. Okay,
mhm,
per finished hour. If you have an 80,000, if you have a 60,000 word count book, you're probably going to have 6 to 7 hours per finished hours that it requires, narration that requires to finish it. If you have 70 to 80, it's going to go 7, 8, 9 per finished hours. Anything over 100,000, you're looking at probably 10 or more per finished hours. And a lot of narrators will shy away from that
mhm.
unless you are paying them something other than just royalty share. So keep that in mind.
And
But
then the
don't be
3rd
the straight fee. Yeah. Yeah, that straight fee. And to be honest, I don't know exactly what a straight fee would be in terms of what the normal charge is. Now,
I've
if they're saying,
heard I've heard average between 2 and 300 per finished hour.
well, I've heard 1,000 or more, particularly if they're Screen Actor Voice Act, Guild, and they charge 175 to $100 per finished hour. Which, if you had an 8 hour uh, narration, that's $800.
Mhm.
So you got to just got to keep that in mind.
I
So
know that my sister for her, Shadow of Dragons, the Nightmare King, she ended up, I think, doing 1,500. Hers was a Broadway actress that did it, and she did
I,
an amazing job, but it can be done, it could end up being pretty high if you don't choose one of the other 2.
well, you're hoping for multiple narrators to audition for your books. It is a little bit time consuming, because if you get 15, 20, 30 different narrators that are auditioning your 3 to 5 minute narration, then it does take a little while to go through all of those. But it's better to have that many than not enough. So the last thing um, that you would do once you're finished with the narration, and you've gone through each chapter, you've listened to the audio files, and you've made any changes that you want made, and it's ready for production. Then you send it on to ACX, and generally the process takes anywhere from a month to 2 months for them to go through their sound and quality checks. So and a good thing about a lot of the narrators now is that they have their own sound engineers. So I have not yet had a book that's uh, been produced through ACX that was turned down because of the audio quality wasn't up to their standard. So most of the narrators, they're going to have their own sound engineer that's going to, process that. So when it goes to ACX, you won't have any issues of them bouncing it back to you. So, well, this isn't, you've got to fix this. So, and then the platforms that you will find your audiobook on when you go through ACX is it'll be Audible, Amazon, and iBooks. So you have those three platforms. Won't it be on Draft to Digital, or did Ingram Spark buy them? It's not going to be on those platforms unless you. I think there's probably a process to do that, but it's not going to be loaded on that platform by ACX. So just remember, the Amazon, Audible, and iBooks.
Okay. I finished that page just to kind of bruise us through, and when I hit continue, this is what came up. What is this? It's the chapter.
Okay, chapter names. Okay, that I'd say good. Yeah, I was a little confused when I first started doing that. It's most books, I think, no longer, although there's still a lot that do. Most books don't have chapter titles.
Well,
It's
mine
just
do.
chapter one. I know there's some, but a lot. It's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or in like CJ's case, if you have a chapter title, then when
Mhm.
you submit your book for narration, you want the chapters listed. So when you get
Did you lock
the
up?
no, not so
Oh,
far.
he locked up. There you are.
Okay,
Technical
so
difficulty.
there's the one of the original menu you showed, CJ, when you chose your book will have something on there about that, and you're just putting your chapters. Click paste and click your chapters. Chapters,
Yes.
you know,
Literally right here.
chapters 1 through 50. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or chapter 1 title, chapter 2 title, chapter 3 title, etc. Now, the how many words are in your book, that's what they base the per finished hours on. And basically, roughly every 10,000 words, you can pretty much count on 1 hour of
Yep. It says
narration.
a typical audiobook
Yeah,
narrator with
yeah,
93,000 words per finished hour of
yeah.
audio. What territory rights do you own? In other words, do you own the full rights to your
You do. That's the good
Mhm.
thing about going through ACX, because you own the full right of your books.
How do you like to distribute your audiobooks? You can go exclusively through Amazon Audio iTunes, which is the 40% royalty that you get, or non-exclusive, and you only get
Right.
25% royalty.
And so I stand corrected when I said that it was loaded on just Amazon, Audible, and iTunes, because
Mhm.
here, if you're willing to only get a 25% royalty, you can go to non-exclusive distribution, and that means you can load it on any kind of digital platform or audio platform you want. But notice you're only getting 25%, and you're splitting
Mhm.
that 25% with the narrator.
Correct.
So, and the narrators you'd only get each about 12.5%.
Yep. So, and then we're with the how do you pay for your audiobook producer? We talked about the royalty share and the pay for
Hmm.
production options. So
Yep.
we would do royalty share because that will let me to
Right.
bounce to the next page.
Right.
Um, so this is the review and post. We are not posting, but this is the
No.
last page. Basically, is this all the information you've got? This is how your title will appear producers. You actually put your title here, and then you would post
Right.
it with X.
And
Um,
and that's where it'll be about 30 days to 60 days before you hear back from them and saying, "Hey, your book is now ready for sale. It is now posted on Audible."
mhm.
So it's
um,
it's kind of a challenge. It's kind of scary and challenging, particularly for someone like me. Probably wouldn't be for you, CJ, but it was for me, because it seems like there's so many moving parts, and and if I so this let me say this: if I can do it, 99% of the population can do it as well. So it's not that hard.
mhm. It's just you got to follow the steps. There's just a lot of steps to it.
Right.
So you had me pull this up. I know that ACX also, some people are concerned with how do you know what the audio requirements are? Honestly, you Google them. They'll tell you.
This is just basically a pictorial and condensed version of what you originally showed, CJ, when you're going through on what's required for your book. and it's basically just repeating that in maybe an easier form or fashion. So I would actually go here first if you're thinking about producing an audiobook using
So
ACX.
where is here? What is this?
This is, if I can get, okay, so this is the, let me
What is it
see.
on the internet? What's the
That's what I'm looking. It's under how it works. Okay, over here on the left hand side, where you see how it works for authors. So
Mhm.
you would click on authors, and it takes you here, and then it gives you kind of a down and dirty each step.
I posted it in the comments so that everybody has that.
Okay, so let's again, it's under how it works, authors. For how does it work for an author if you're wanting to produce an audiobook? So you just go over here. And audiobooks are, from what I've read, they are still uh, growing in market share and popularity because so many people have long commutes to work, or they just like to listen to books. And so, if you do not have any books currently in production for audiobooks, I would seriously consider it. But here you can get it done either at a reasonable price or even for free. And that's the main thing, because in the past 5 years ago or so, you'd be spending thousands either on buying your own sound equipment or getting somebody to produce it for you.
And as Mombi points out, for the narrator, if you use Audacity recording tool, it actually has an ACX check that you can use, which is a good
Hmm.
tip. Thanks, Mombi.
I did not know that.
Mhm. But I put the link in the comments on how to find this page that's currently up. And that's just acx.com/help, how it works. And you can choose which part you want to read under, get a little more details.
Sure.
Audiobooks can be difficult. They can be confusing. If you had one golden nugget to share regarding audiobooks, Mike, what would it be? We have about 3 minutes left.
Main thing would be the most critical thing you're going to do is the narrator, choosing the right narrator for your book.
Mhm.
Narrators will make or break your book.
True. So next week we are going to, let me find next week. Next week we're going to, it's gonna be a fun one. We're gonna have one of our actually both of them are former guests, Kelly Lynn Colby and Danielle
McDonough.
McDonough. She's gonna
Yeah.
not be happy with me for that, but
Yeah.
Danielle McDonough, and we're gonna be talking Comic Cons and how that relates to the author world.
Awesome.
So we're gonna have kind of a little bit of a forum type thing. We're going to have two guests. That's Danielle McDonough. Sorry, Danielle. And Kelly Lynn Colby. So it should be fun. Both girls, great personalities. And we've run across both of them multiple times at many different Comic Cons. Mike and I both do Comic Cons as well. And we'll let you know the kind of the ins and outs of how that could help you as an author or help you as a reader to find your favorite author and where to look. So in the meantime, find your narrator, authors, get your book out there. Like I said, I have Mombi. Sorry, she's already taken. And she's currently working on Appointed Time, Sands of Time trilogy, which is currently on book blog tour for Lone Star Literary Life. Tomorrow is the last day. Make sure to go in and get your giveaway. You just have to sign up for it on any of those blogs. Go for it. And we will be doing the drawing for that later on. I think either this week. I think this week is how that works. And we'll get those out to you guys. In the meantime, check the stuff out. We had Jeffrey Lee last week. We'll have Danielle McDonough. I am so sorry, Danielle. We'll have Danielle McDonough and Kelly Lynn Colby next week talking Comic Con. In the meantime, have a good week.